Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. And today, even though, yes, it is kind of very late for doing so because the first preliminary final is currently on right now. That's as I'm recording this, but let's say it's better very late than ever. This is my preview for the preliminary finals in the 2023 AFL Final Series. Excuse me. So it's the first preliminary final between Collingwood and GWS, which I said a moment ago is happening right now. And then the other preliminary final, which is going to be on tomorrow. Tomorrow evening is of course Brisbane and Carlton. So let's get straight into it. The match that is currently on right now between Collingwood and GWS. So I'll go through. To go through the ins and outs for both teams. No changes for GWS from the side that beat Port Adelaide last week. Beat Port Adelaide last week. Only the one change this week for Collingwood, and that was the big inclusion of Nick Dacos. With unfortunately Taylor Adams, the one that had to make way due to injury. The team lineups, the actual lineup for Collingwood, from the back line, of course, it's Murphy, Moore, and Quainer. From the half back line, it's Braden Maynard, Scott Pendlebury, and Jeremy Howe. I don't know why I said Jeremy Moore for a second. From the centre, you got still side bottom Jordan De Goey and Dacos. That is Josh Dacos. The half forward line, you got Bobby Hill, Brody Mychek, and Pat Lipinski, and in the deep forward line, you got JB Elliott, Dan McStay, and Will Hoskin-Elliott. The followers, you got big Mason Cox in the ruck, Bo McQuarrie in the middle. Surprisingly, and Jack Crisp as well in the middle, also as well. In the interchanges, you got Tom Mitchell, you got Cameron in there, you got Nick Dacos, the inclusion, and Oleg Markov with, not surprisingly, Jack Giddeman as the sub. Pre-game, I probably would have picked in to be the sub anyways for Collingwood. As I said, there were no changes for GWS. So from the back line, you got Buckley, Taylor, and Iden. In the half back line, you got Lockie Ash, Perryman, and Lockie Whitfield. Then in the centre, you got Cumming, Green, and Kelly. In the half forward line, you got Bedford, Jake Riccardi, and Daniels. And then in the deep forward line, you've got Daniel Lloyd, big Jesse Hogan, and Toby Green himself. In the followers, you got Briggs as the ruckman, and then of course Callum Warren and Stephen Canelio as the main men in the middle. In the interchange, you've got Callahan, Himmelberg, Keith, and Brown. You could notice I'm trying to get through this quickly because obviously the game's going on right now, and two, it's pretty much outdated this, so pretty much I had to get through this quite quickly. And of course, not surprisingly, again, the sub is O'Halloran, because obviously he was the sub last week against Port Adelaide, I think. Surprisingly, the last time these two sides met, which was way back in round 9, also at the MCG, Collingwood absolutely pummeled them by 65 points, which is equal to almost 11 goals. for Collingwood, Nick Dacos had a lazy 41 possessions. Tom Mitchell had 36 and Jamie Elliott kicked 2 goals. While for GWS, Steve Keelio had 33 touches. Lockie Ash had 32, while Jesse Hogan kicked 3 goals. And then the previous 4 before that, mostly it's dominated by GWS, mostly, except for the most recent one before this season, which was the round 15 game in 2022, when Collingwood won that one by 11 points. But other than that, it's basically all GWS. And even the last time that they met in a prelim final was in 2019, and we all know how that went. So yeah. So their head-to-head record, well, we all know Collingwood were the top of the top team, and obviously GWS in the bottom half of the top 8. So we don't have to go through those. Surprisingly enough, GWS, they've only played before tonight 2 games at the MCG all season. This is their 3rd game this year. To be honest, for GWS, really on that front. Surprisingly, they're really close in terms of scoring, but it's really the defense that really is the big difference there on that front, with Collingwood conceding 72.5 points a game compared to GWS's 81.8 point per game. So finally to the core for profile, obviously. If you guys didn't watch the last 2, the reviews of the preview from last week, it's of course with the ball, without the ball, clearance, and post clearance. The only stat that GWS in front of Collingwood on is without the ball. That says something to do with, of course, intercept possessions, men behind the ball, and that sort of stuff. They're probably better than Collingwood. That's surprising. That's surprising that they're 9th in that table, even though they got guys like Moore, Murphy, Maynard, Howe, all these guys in the back line, and they're rated 9th in that area in terms of the core 4. But other than that, it's just basically all dominated by Collingwood, basically. Second with the ball compared to 8th. Second again in clearances compared to 11th for GWS, and 7th in post clearances. That's the only thing that they're pretty much close to in a way. Really, other than that, it's just basically all dominated by Collingwood, basically. My prediction was before the game, I thought Collingwood would win the game by 20 points. In the end, I think that would have been too strong for them in the end. Basketball. If you're watching the game right now, by the time this video is out, probably the game's over already. But if, of course, I don't know what I'm saying, to be honest. And then the bold prediction is that that Collingwood would hold GWS goalless in the first term. So that was my prediction now. So yeah. So that was the preview for obviously the game that's going on right now. I didn't want to lie to you guys and say, look, just treat it like I haven't watched it, like I have. Even though probably I shouldn't have said that, because obviously I'm going to get cop of flack for it for telling the truth. But obviously you have to do that and that sort of thing. So yeah. Now on to the game which is going to be on tomorrow night. Actually, it is the early 5:15 game at the GABBA between the Brisbane Lions and Carlton. So a couple of changes. There was several changes to these lineups here. The big inclusion for Brisbane is backman Darcy Gardner. Replacing the injured Jack Payne. And then of course Jared Lyons is also out due to him being the sub the week before or a fortnight ago against Port Adelaide in the first final. And then two big ins for Carlton this week. Of course, Harry Mackay's it's been a happy week for the Mackays, obviously, because if you guys hadn't lived under a rock for these last 12 hours, you tell that basically his brother, that Harry's twin brother Ben, has announced that obviously he's going to be going to my boys, Essendon Beauty. But Parry is back in from his spell with concussion. Jack Martin is back in due to from suspension, and Jordan Boyd is the inclusion there, and many outs as well. I mean, Brody Kemp, I thought he was playing all right for Carlton. I thought, but he's been omitted. David Cunningham, he's been omitted as well. Matthew Kennedy also omitted, and another shock in Matthew Owies also has been omitted. So probably Vossi has not been happy with how he's been going throughout this final series. So on to the actual lineups here for firstly for Brisbane, from the back line you got Starcevich, Harris Andrews, and Darcy Gardner. In the half back line, you got Connor McKenna, Ryan Lester, and Kadeem Coleman. In the centre, you got Hugh McCluggage, Josh Dunkley, and Dane Zorko. In the half forward line, you got Charlie Cameron. I want, please Charlie, kick a bag of goals so I can sing tomorrow night. Country road, country road. I want that blaring through the GABBA speakers tomorrow afternoon. I want to see that happening, to be honest. Eric Hipwood and Zach Bailey as well. The deep forwards, you got Cam Rayner, Joe Danaher, and Archie. The followers, you got you got the Big O, Oscar McInerney, Lockie Chalky Neal, and Jared Berry. The interchanges, you got Robinson, Lincoln McCarthy, Jasper Fletcher, and Darcy Wilmot. And the sub, I would presume, once again for the second game running for Brisbane, I presume will be Jared Lyons. I would to guess, in my opinion, probably for Brisbane. Now on to Carlton's lineup. From the back line, you got Chincotta, Wietering, and Adam Sard. From the half-back line, you've got Carla Marchbank, Mitch McGovern, and Nick Newman. In the centre, you got Blake Acres, Patrick Cripps, and Ollie Hollins. Half-forward line, you got Tom DeConing, Harry Mackay, of course, back in from injury, and Sam Doherty. And then in the deep forward line, you got Lockie Fogarty, big man, the big man himself, Charlie Curnow, and Jesse Motlop. In the followers, you got, of course, Pitnet in the ruck, With probably the two with the along with Akers, the two in form probably midfielders, probably not only for Carlton but throughout this final series in general. And that is Adam Chera and Sam Walsh. And then the interchange, you got Boyd, you got Hewitt, Cottrell, who has been probably a fine for them throughout this final series. I believe he's handled the pressure of finals brilliantly. Has Cottrell, and then of course Jack Martin, of course, as I said, back from suspension. And my pick for sub, I think it has to go to Owies. I think he can. I think if their forward line, because I believe for me that their outlet to goals, I believe, would have to be from Kerno and Mackay. Or not have to be, but if those two are dominated, those two end up getting dominated by Harris Andrews, and then of course the small forwards are getting beaten around the contest probably during the game. That could be a good time for Owies to get in with some fresh legs and maybe try and test out the Brisbane small defenders. So that's why I've gone. So that's why I have gone with him. The last time they met, which was round eight this year. Of course, Brisbane won that game by 26 points. That was back when Carlton were a bit terrible. Let's just put it that way. Towards the middle part of the season. Adam Chera on this day for Carlton. Adam Chera had 33 touches. Blake Acres had 29, and then Corey Durden, who doesn't play in the side anymore. Well, not as of late, I should say. He kicked a couple of goals on that night. For Brisbane, Josh Dunkley also had 33. Jared Berry also had 29 touches. And then Charlie Cameron kicked a bag of 4. So yeah, and not surprisingly, it's basically like they've won. I think Brisbane have won 4 of their last 5 against Carlton. That sole loss was back in 2019. How ironic it was! David Teague's first game in charge after Brenton Bolton was sacked. That was their sole win so far for them. For the Blues against Brisbane, and yeah, so yeah, and then head to head in terms of the team statistics, I think we don't need to go through that. Obviously, Brisbane are obviously the best side when it comes to first and the other sides in the top 8. We all know their ridiculous home record, 13-0 this season. 13-0 at home this season and all that, and of course we all know their scoring power. I mean, almost scoring 96 points per game this season. That counts to obviously the home and away season, of course the final against Port Adelaide as well. That's probably their problem for Carlton, is their scoring. I would back their defence of Wiedering, Marchbank and co. But their forward line, I'm worried that, as I said earlier, if Kerno and Mackay end up get taken out of the game in a way by Harris Andrews and that, I am concerned. And then obviously, and then of course, Brisbane's other small defenders get on top of the of Carlton's small forwards. Then then they'll be struggling to score, really. So yeah, that is probably my main concern. Obviously, yes, their defense, Carlton's defense is good, but unfortunately, unfortunately, I think their scoring will probably let them down in the end on that front. The core four, of course, not surprisingly, Brisbane at the top in terms of with the ball. But without the ball, it's basically almost the same, pretty much, in terms of the difference between Brisbane and Carlton. Obviously, Carlton in third without the ball, obviously, because obviously it's obviously with Wiedering and that. Clearance and post clearance, not surprisingly, Carlton are ranked number 1 in those two areas. And Brisbane not far behind, 5th and 6th in both clearance and post-clearance, respectively, as well. And overall, in the core four, they equal 4th. And of course, Carlton are at the top of that. So yeah. My prediction is this one's going to be crazy. I think the Fairytale run of the Blue Baggers will be carrying into the last Saturday in September. I'm predicting, I can't believe it's less than fair I'm saying this, it's going to be a Carlton Collingwood grand final. I mean, you can't. I know Brisbane have a 13-0 at the GABBA this season. But I just can't get off the Carlton hype train. I just can't. I just cannot get off that train. If I do get off it, they'll freaking win. I just can't. I just can't get off it. So yeah, and it's just absolutely crazy. And the bold prediction, I think, from this preliminary final, I think Carlton will win. Will kick a goal with 5 to 10 seconds left in the game to win the game by a point. That's what I think. That is very bold of me. I think it was actually bold of me to choose Carlton, pretty much. But the momentum that Carlton have, to be honest, I just can't overlook that. I just can't, to be honest. And it just pains me to say that I believe my prediction to see who will be in the grand final, I believe will be Carlton and Collingwood in a grand final. Who would have thought that at the start of the year? Who would have thought that in the middle part of this year, actually, when Carlton were going god awful and Collingwood on top of the ladder? Who would have thought that? To be honest, and I can, and in that grand final, I can see it now. Over 100,000 people at the MCG, full stop. Even so, there could be 100,000 people could be there, even before when players run through the banners, or even when at the start of pre-match entertainment. Of course, Kiss is going to be there. So obviously, it's going to be that big. It's going to be that big if Carlton and Collingwood do play that grand final. But you never know. It probably might be Collingwood and Brisbane. It might be the two favourites in Collingwood and the two most informed sides in Collingwood and Brisbane, obviously. But my tip is Carlton and Collingwood to play off in the 2023 AFL grand final. For me. So that is pretty much it for this video. I had to get through this quite quick because I want to go back and watch the game right now. Like this video, of course. Obviously, I'll try as hard as I can to get this out before the end of the game tonight, but I highly doubt that, really. You can comment down below all you want that about how wrong I was, about how right or wrong I was about the Collingwood GWS prediction. So obviously that's that. Yeah, Shout out to anybody who's a Collingwood fan, a Carlton fan, Brisbane or GWS fan. Yeah. And one last thing, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labelled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on you. Over a week away. I can't believe a week away from the ending of the AFL season. It's just gone. This season has been insane, and I think we're in for an insane ending.